Namaskar. Very warm welcome to our viewers who are joining us on YouTube, Facebook, and other social media channels. Warm welcome to our speaker of the day, Anil Grover ji. Those who don't know me, let me give my short introduction. In 2012, I was found to be diabetic, and I reversed it in just lifestyle changes. And from then on, I've been passionately working with people. I have lived a life which is free of medicine and free of disease, and that's what I want to help create for people who come in contact with me. So I'm now focusing on diabetes. So I'm working as a diabetes reversal lifestyle coach. Anilji is someone I have been closely associating myself with because when I found about the functional medicine, I've been looking for people who have been closely associated. I think functional medicine, I see a lot of hope for humanity. It's a great departure from the way we approach the medicine or disease conventionally. So Anilji is a functional medicine coach, and he has been certified from USA, from the School of the Applied Functional Medicine, and he is also an integrative nutritional health coach from the Institute of Integrative Medicine, USA. And those who know Anilji, he's a very generous man, he's a very warm man, he's passionately pursuing this area of health and is a mode of giving, giving, and giving. So, as a part of that effort, we today have him to know about the optimal function of thyroid. Now, it is a very small gland right here, seated here at the base of our neck, but it has a huge implication on our health. And what I realized in my working with people is that there's a very limited understanding. It's pretty shocking that the diseases we know in a very sporadic manner, very limited understanding we have. So I think the first step would be to have a deeper understanding or a clear understanding or comprehensive understanding of what is thyroid. And it's not just the thyroid gland, but it's the entire system that we're talking about. So, Anuji, I would invite you to elucidate this part, in the simplest manner possible so that people comprehend it. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, Gautamji, thank you very much for the invitation and a warm welcome to all the viewers. And yes, it's a very important thing what you said, that we should know about our body. It helps us so much, our organs. So a little bit we need to know. It's a responsibility. We just can't let go and hand over our responsibility to someone else, thinking it's going to get okay itself or with some just one or two pills. We do need to know. So, okay, let us get into it straight away. So this is today's talk. I hope I can make it as simple and clear so that it can benefit all of you all. So yes, first, as Gautamji said, let us go to the task. I think we should know what our thyroid is. If anyone is having problems with thyroid, or if not, we can always have a lifestyle where it is optimal. So what does it do? It's a gland which controls our metabolism, means the food which we eat, the food gets converted to energy by the help of the thyroid enzymes. So energy means car, we can have the best car in the world, but if the battery is out, if there's no energy, I can have the best phone, but if it is no energy, it will not function. Same, if we don't have energy, unfortunately, the line in the hospital, when we see that thing goes flat, we don't want that. So energy means it's going to influence the speed, that will it be fast or slow of every cell of our body, and every organ of our body is made of cells. So almost everything in the body is going to depend on our thyroid. It is that important. And it also has influence on everything. Let us go further on. So as I already said, energy is the foundation to existence of all cells. Energy is made in the mitochondria, which is in every cell of our body except the red blood cells. So low energy will down-regulate the functioning of every organ. So it's so easy to connect it. Functional perspective means everything is interconnected. So low energy. So my body, the cells cannot make enough heat. So people who have this problem, they'll be knowing they feel cold. Poor motility, tendency of constipation. Why? The GI tract motility slows down. Every cell needs energy. Weight gain, metabolism, conversion of what we're eating, it gets stored more, does not get used because of low energy. Same, our brain also needs energy to focus, to concentrate. It does not happen, low energy. So see the connection, just see the connection with everything. It's the master gland. It works together with the stress gland, very closely connected to adrenaline. The stress gland, adrenal, and depression, anxiety, low blood pressure, low pulse. Yes, slow. Everything is slow. The cells which make energy are also in the heart. It's everywhere. Infertility problem. Yes, things are slow. Dry skin, hair loss, eyebrows thinning on the sides. And if it's the other way around, if there is too much of enzymes there, overacting, then the opposite happens. Extra energy, warmth, tendency of constipation, tendency of the bowel movement going out faster, losing weight, restlessness. Just see the connection. It is so simple also. Irritated, hypertension. There's more pressure in the vessels, bulging eyes, extra energy coming out, excessive sweating. So many things happening, but connected to energy. Energy connected to many things, but one of the important thing is the thyroid enzymes. So we should know about it. So we should not take it lightly. Sometimes I meet people, they come to me, I'm having this problem, thyroid, so chalta hi hai, little bit Hindi, let us talk. So since when did you have this problem? Oh, last 6 years, 7 years, it's okay, it's carrying on, it's part of life. Right? It's the most important thing of your body. If it carries on like this, downstream, after some years, it's going to get, as your body anyway is going to slow down gradually, so the problem is going to get double increase. So I hope Gautamji, I'm trying to not, we go a bit fast. So before I move to the second part, the first part was a rough idea of what this important organ does for us. It is controlling everything. So I'll just take a pause here. I would like you to come in and say you feel.
Yeah, so I think we're going on track. I think basically what you're saying is there is a master controller of it's like a master control of energy, and if there is kind of down regulation because of some problem in the enzymes, the whole system goes haywire. Either you can be hypothyroid or you can have hyperthyroid. But I think what we would like to understand is that how does the play happen? Of course, we got it that these are the symptoms, but the understanding of thyroid in a manner that we are able to respond to it.
Yes, that's very, very wonderful question. So that understanding, so that we are able to respond to. So many times we come across situations in the body. Let us not use the word disease, but some dysfunction, blockage. And if I don't know what has happened, so how will I overcome? If I don't know where the problem is, where the enemy is, what am I going to overcome? So yes, it is our responsibility to have some idea about it. So that's a wonderful question. So let's get into that question. Okay. So yes, so we can mechanism. What happens? Although it might sound very scientific, but at the same time, we need not get confused by that. Nature, everything also works on its own. It is a very dynamic and fascinating thing. So let's understand it. Our pituitary, there's a gland in the brain, a very small gland that picks up information. It's called a feedback system. It picks up information from the cells, from all the cells of the body, if it is getting enough thyroid hormones or not. If it is getting it, then it will not tell the thyroid to make more hormones. If it gets information from the body that the hormones are not reaching the cells, it will tell the thyroid, make more cells. This is how it works. Fascinating. So the hormone being released in the brain, not in the thyroid, the pituitary gland is called TSH. And then TSH will release a hormone called T4. We'll get into all that later on. We want to understand what is T4 also, so we'll know what it is. This much we know. Everyone who has had thyroid problem knows TSH, T4, T3, they know that. So T4. And then T4 does not have action on the in the cells, in the mitochondria to make the energy. It is made, reserved, kept ready. This is how the body works. When and where the cells need energy, which is always happening, but how much, T4 will get converted to T3 by the body enzymes, and T3 is the one which does the energy to happen, it makes it happen. So that is T3. So now this is happening billions of times in a second in trillions of the cells. It's all working like that. And this is how we know about it. And, but there is something more fascinating than that. We know about TSH, but few in the day-to-day living don't know about TRH. It is a hormone released also in the brain by the hypothalamus. And when does the hypothalamus release it? Hypothalamus, very important, mind over matter. Hypothalamus responds to thoughts. So let's remember that. Later on, we'll come to it. It picks up, it perceives whether the stress is real or not, but the way I am thinking, I'm feeling, it will send a message through a chemical to the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland will release TSH, and the cascade will happen, what we just discussed. So it is a loop, it is a feedback system which is connected to the brain, the feelings. Pituitary gland will pick up the information and then inform the thyroid gland, which will send hormones all over the body, all the cells, and from there information will come back, a feedback system. This is how it works. So now supposing if someone is feeling, as we saw the symptoms before, feeling low, energy, gaining weight, and let us say he visits his practitioner, and there in the blood is picked up that TSH, TRH, normally the blood work is not done. So TSH is seen, it is, let's say, high, means that is less reaching the cells T4, T3. So let us, the pituitary gland says make more. So, oh, this person has thyroid issues. It's just from the blood work is picked up, thyroid issues. So what do we do about it? The generic name levothyroxine is given. What is levothyroxine? Levothyroxine is synthetic T4. And the person carries on. If he feels good, well and good. He doesn't feel good, the levothyroxine dose is increased. It goes carries on like this. But will it ever be removed? That we are not trained to think like this. What went wrong? Did something go wrong with my thoughts? Did something go wrong in the pituitary gland sending the signal? There are many things happening, but this is how it goes. So the active one is T3, but T4 is given. So why is T3 not given? So if if when I was in school, I remember now 61 years, so back 40 years, 45 years. So when we used to come home, I was in a boarding school and I used to come home. Boarding school, the food was not all that good when we were in school. So coming home, always there was a doctor visit. And if you remember that time, the doctor, the medicine which used to give, uh, there was someone with him called the compounder. And the medicine was made that time. They used to compound it. Compounder means they used to make it and give. And we used to get medicines in bottles, some B complexes, something. They used to have big bottles and fill it and give it. Means they could control it easily. So that time there is also T3 is also available, but T3 is active, so it can have a very quick response. So that is why T4 is felt safer to give. For T3, the practitioner and the patient have to be very close with each other, connected and seeing the effect. So, but T4 and T3 both can be given compounded together. It's not done anymore. No medicine is compounded. It comes ready-made. So this is how the system carries on. But today's talk, I'll just take a pause here and get Gautamji back. So today's talk then starts after this. What is happening behind the scene? Is it just that simple, TSH, T4, T3? Is it or functional perspective? Or is there much more to it? So let me just take a break here.
Yeah, thank you, Anilji, for sharing the mechanism of. I mean, we are just getting into the discussion, but I think from here on we go a little deeper because this is where the answers lie, and this is how the functional medicine seeks answer. So I think now we're getting a very interesting part. Right now, we're just preparing for this moment where this is how it happens. Yes, fine. But what is it we need to do? How this optimization can happen? This is, I think, now. Let's get into that right.
Okay, Gautamji. So how the optimization can happen? Before that, let us see what is really happening. We just saw a small picture of where's the slide gone? Yes, we saw this slide and we saw this slide. Okay. So this is a small picture. Now let us see the dynamics. The body is fascinating. And the root cause, what could be happening? What is going on? What could be happening? Why? Why did the T4 become less first place that we have to take synthetic T4? Yes, it's great. The medicines are okay, wonderful. Hypostate, very bad hypostate can be dangerous. So the synthetic T4 is really helping me, wonderful. But if I could understand why it happened, then gradually once things are under control, maybe I can take some steps to be free of it. Let the thyroid make it. So why the malfunction? What could the root causes be? Let us quickly get into that. First of all, we want to understand, we should know how is T4, T3 made? What's gone wrong over there? We need to know that. So T4, T3 is not coming from some outer space, is made from the foods we eat. Right? T4 is 4 molecules of iodine with connected to 1 molecule of protein, amino acid. So, question mark. Something wrong with my diet? I'm missing them out. It's not being made. Or T4, T3 conversion. What do I need? It has to be converted. Some problems there. So even if I take no matter how much of T4 medication, if there's no conversion of T3, the blood reports are not going to help me. They might show, okay, I've taken T4 inside. T4 in the blood will show wonderful, but I'm not feeling okay. Next, let's say body is making them. Are they being available to the cells? Normally, the blood work is checking serum, what is in the blood, how much is running around in the blood. But is it available to go inside my cells? That is where the mitochondria is where the work will be done to be made energy. There is protein which carries it, which will carry T4 and T3. It is called thyrobinding globulin. Is that become less? If that has become less, is that become more? If it has become more, then the T4, T3 is bound to it. It cannot be used. In the blood, it will show up because the blood, it is called T4, total T4, total F3. Nowadays, we have started seeing in the blood free one. So we have to know about that. And interconnectedness, you can always ask why in front of everything, but then the talk will become ours. So we will not go into the whys every time, but I'll just give what is happening, not the why time. Extra estrogen makes more thyroxine binding globulin. Extra estrogen, men also have estrogen, women, pregnancy, or maybe, I think we'll get into that later on also, will increase it. So connection. So it will not be available. So lab reports showing something else. Conversion, T4 can get converted into T3 by removing one iodine. To do that, we need selenium, we need iron, we need vitamin A, we need zinc, but mainly selenium and iron. So if my diet, if my nutrition, if my digestion, if my stomach acid is low due to infection or stress, or maybe for no reason, I'm just eating away the protein pump inhibitor. I'm not so good with the medicine names because thank God I don't take any medicines. But it makes the acid less, short-term relief for acidity, short-term relief. But protein cannot get broken, be ready to be gone into the bloodstream to get into action if there is low acid. So if I'm missing on these things, if I'm missing on zinc, if I'm missing on selenium mainly, T4 will not get converted to T3. So I am taking the synthetic T4, but it's not getting converted into T3. I will not feel okay. So we have to see the full picture. The receptors, let's say T4 converted to T3 is wonderful. Now it has to enter inside the cell to work. If my receptors, if my cell lining, because of cheap oils and too much of omega-6, less omega-3, cortisol, the stress hormone, will convert free T3 into reverse T3. There is stress. Now we will not say, I will not go into why it will do that or how it does that, but extra stress, cortisol hormone will take the ready T3 and turn it into RT3, reserve T3, which is a blood marker, which is not available at the moment here in India, but in other countries, you can do a normal blood test with RT3. If there is too much of T4, I'm taking too much of T4, but the conversion is not taking place. The body is very smart. It will convert the extra T4 into RT3. RT3 is not being picked up in the blood reports. My symptoms are not improving. So behind the scene, we have to see overall everything. We have to understand overall everything.
Basically, what you were saying is that
yes.
when T4 is being produced, it has to be converted into active T3. My understanding is it happens, I think, in liver itself, right?
Pardon?
Most of that conversion happens in the liver, right?
The conversion happens. Very interesting question. Good, you asked me. So I so much to say. The conversion happens in the liver and the kidney mainly, and 80% of T4 is released, and about 20% T3 is made by the thyroid. So so that there is some T3 direct for action, provided it's not bound. 99% is bound, only 1% is free normally, and T4 in the liver and kidney. Now, if I'm having liver issues, I don't take it, I just take it, it's okay, no problem, fatty liver. I think everyone has fatty liver, doesn't matter. Well, if it carries on the fatty liver for a long time, my thyroid is going to get affected because conversion is going to get affected. And then at the same time, the body is very smart. Skeletal muscles where lots of energy is needed, heart where lots of energy is needed, brain where lots of energy is needed. The T4, T3 conversion takes place in those cells. It does not have to come via the liver and blood. It is already there. So many times when the conversion in the brain is already taking place, the TSH, pituitary gland, can pick up the feedback from there and say that I'm satisfied, I'm okay. So the blood reports will show that. But maybe in the cells, the patient is not happening. So he will still go to his doctor and say, "No, I'm still not feeling okay." But the reports will say everything is okay. So sometimes we have seen many times it goes so, you can't blame anyone, but the system is so, then they come home with the antidepressant,
So
the person, because the person is not feeling okay.
So the point you're making
Right.
is that even though, as in fact, in the last month in a diabetes session, you had made a very interesting remark. It was about making my markers look good. So in a way, what you're doing is taking medicine. You say I should have T4. You may take T4. However, it is not helping you because the conversion is not happening because of either of the estrogens which interfere the conversion. Because it's the active T3 which matters, right? And
Yes,
it
I
could
think
also be compromised because of the stress or the liver being unhealthy. So this is where we now stand. So
yes, yes,
fine. We
yes. So
find that there are other
for
factors.
correct,
Yeah.
yes. So for the first step is wonderful. You see, allopathic triage, that to solve the problem instantly is a wonderful thing. But then I have to take the responsibility together with my practitioner and say, give me a chance. I'm going to look into it with my diet and this and that. And let's work together. And once it gets better, then titrate it down. And people can do that. No, so going through it quickly, cortisol we already discussed is very closely connected to, both are connected. It actually controls the thyroid gland, the cortisol. So then comes toxicity. If I'm having toxicity, heavy lead metals, fungal issues in the body, allergies in the body, long time, it can create some autoimmune excitement in the immune system. Then we have other problems of if it carries on like this and the root cause is not being addressed. I've seen people having Hashimoto's autoimmune system. It's carrying on at the back. Then the markers were never tested for autoimmune thyroid issues, and you just say it's in the ending. I've made those things ready. Do a full panel, and suddenly you see the person is having autoimmune thyroid, either hypo or either hyper. So at that time, the thyroid is the poor victim, and we are treating the thyroid, but the problem is autoimmunity. The problem is autoimmunity, not the thyroid. Thyroid became a victim of that. So this is how the detoxification after all the hormones in the body. Hormones measurement is done in very small amount because they're very powerful. So after hormone is done, his body, it has to be excreted, detoxified. So if my detoxification is weak, the problems will remain. So the problems remain. So this is we see how estrogen also will slow down the detoxification of used T4. As we said, it will increase the thyroxine binding globulin. So everything is behind the scene connected. Stress is connected. Food is connected. Digestion is connected. If I'm having lots of insulin, see the connection. Let's say I'm having insulin problem, diabetic problem. A diabetic person is having problem of making energy because the glucose is not entering the cells. The problem is already there. So when low energy is being made, everything is low, then automatically the thyroid will show up low also because that's its work. When toxins come in, when the thyroid enzyme is in the mitochondria making energy, when there is heavy metal toxicity of lead, arsenic from the rice, so many things we don't care of it, or if our detoxification is not good, then it impairs the energy making process in the mitochondria. So I think we can just take a break and then I would like to see that what we next can, how we can really help everyone now.